again, very grateful for them to dedicate that amount of time to help make our community, our city, our child care access, and our trust as powerful and consequential as it can be. So excited to have that. I know I had questions last week. Like most meetings in here, yes, it is open to the public. Obviously, the conversation is going to be, there's not going to be public comment, or there's not going to be, but we, of course, are more than happy to have members of the public listen in on conversations, but we're going to obviously keep all of the activity work and the discussion amongst the group. We're wanting to focus on that, but that will be starting at 8:30 in here in this room tomorrow. So expecting a tight fit. Media, I know you guys are welcome, of course, and we'll make whatever accommodations you need us to make in terms of discussion at the beginning, at the end, or somewhere in between. The Fiesta Parade, we had our pre-meeting for that. Something that we've made a distinct change with. I give our Captain Coverdale and Tim Kinsella a lot of credit, and really all of our departments, that I can tell you the Mardi Gras parade and every parade that goes on since the terrible events in New Orleans in January is the most prepared that the city's ever been for a parade. I can tell you, I can guarantee that. I can't guarantee anything, but I can guarantee it from a preparation standpoint. We've never been better prepared for parades and events that we are now with this new standard we have, which is an multiple all hands meetings ahead of time, how we are coordinating emergency response, the infrastructure that we have in place, getting the Sheriff Simmons and the Sheriff's Department continues to help contribute assets, FHP. So lots of different hands in play here to make it as safe as possible. The reminder I wanted to give, the Fiesta Parade is Friday evening. The parade rolls at 7 on the usual route on Palafox, and the road closures are set to begin at 4 o'clock. So you remember I mentioned to you guys many times about we are going to be towing vehicles if they are inside the parade route. And to give you the post update from last time, thanks to you guys getting the word out and our social media, our police department, we had to tow 0 vehicles last time during the Mardi Gras parades. Remember, we had said we would. And so I appreciate our citizens heeding that and taking that seriously. I appreciate the media getting the word out to everybody. That will be the same thing this time. So starting Friday at 4 o'clock, if your car is in the parade route, it will soon not be there, either by you moving it or someone else moving it for you. So please make sure that you're out of there. Their signs should already be up if you guys are driving around town. I believe they're already and have been up for since even before the weekend, at least some of them. So the Jefferson Street Garage will be accessible. We're going to do, as we did our kind of debrief from the last meeting, the last parade, excuse me. We're looking at what we can optimize because of the increased security, and we expected it. There was some confusion as to whether the Jefferson Garage was going to be open because of us pushing the kind of the fence line back, so to speak, another block. So we're going to do a better job of that signage up until a certain time that the Jefferson Garage is open. And the no parking signs are already posted. We also, if we weren't busy enough, we also have graduation ceremonies for Santa Rosa County at the Bay Center on Friday. So please pack your patience along with your costumes and everything else, because Friday will be rather hectic. But we will be getting all of you media, all the public, clear maps on which ways to go. We will have Main Street closed again. That we will continue to do that as we did for Mardi Gras before. So that map will not be wildly different than what you guys received for Mardi Gras, but if you would, please be sure to share that one that you get in your inbox about the best routes in terms of getting up and around the parade route. So some good news, welcome news that FDOT, their $2.8 million resurfacing project on US 98, Gregory Street here in the city from North Palafox to east of 15th has been completed. So that is all done. We're going to get you some, that included lighting improvements, traffic signals, sidewalk, crosswalk, and stormwater management. And then we'll get you guys some updates, some timeline updates on Garden Street and all of those as well. Lots of state FDOT projects happening right now, and we'll get you some clarity on those timelines next week. I mentioned the airport. The next mayor's cleanup is this Saturday, May 31st, and it's a portion of the East Hill neighborhood and surrounding areas. And the map, of course, as always, is on the city website. And this is for bulk items only, not yard waste or garbage. And that is everything I've got. I'm happy to take any questions on that or anything else.
Mayor, what's the latest on American Magic?
Yeah, so we're in constant communication with the American Magic leadership about everything, from the building to everything else. The first thing I'll say is there's no consequence or no scenario around the America's Cup that will have any impact on the project itself. The building will be built, the employees will be hired, and what I can say confidently is that this team has a commitment to international sailing at either an America's Cup or similar level. When you consider the investment that they put in to this building, to job creation and all of that. So from a city operation perspective, I have absolutely zero concern over what may or may not happen. I think if you read, I'm not going to speak for American Magic. I think if you read what's happening with the America's Cup, this is not just an American Magic decision. I think there's a larger discussion about the format of the Cup that I will not dare delve into speculating on. I'll let them do that. But what I'd say is, if you read all of the headlines about the conversation right now, I think we're in a negotiation phase right now. But regardless of that, remember, there are enormous international platforms for sailing that would be unprecedented here outside of the America's Cup. I mean, the America's Cup is every 3 years. There's things like Sail GP and that tour that's really come on strong, kind of like similar to F1. There are major international presence, and there is major international presence in sailing that's outside of the America's Cup. So we're just going to be patient and continue to be in conversation with them. This could end up being a big ball of nothing, or if somehow that this is something that the America's Cup as a whole can't work out, then I fully expect that there'll be some other significant investment into international sailing in some other way. That's what I'd say. So no impact on job count, no impact on operations. We got engineers and electricians out there this morning as we speak, continuing exactly as we were.
Mayor, now that summer's here, our team was wondering if you've or the city is doing anything to help occupy kids during the summer, help cut down on crime. Are there any programs, initiatives, or y'all in talks with PPD about that kind of thing?
Yeah, there's several of those things, and we'll get you. I don't want to misstate dates and all of that, but I can tell you, our Parks and Rec department at our community centers really ramps up during the summer season. I just mentioned on radio this morning, if there are parents or grandparents out there, there's still opportunity for kids to get involved and to get active at our community centers. You can go to our city's website or the Parks Facebook page to get all of that information. We've put out a big guide that kind of goes through all of that. And of course, we've got, we have programs both during the school year and in the summer for after school and all of that. So this is kind of our busy season. I think, is trying to keep people occupied, keep kids occupied and having fun things to do. Our police department, they put on their own camp, actually. My daughter has participated in it a couple of times, and so they even have their own camp for that exact reason, just to give kids something fun and exciting to do, and get to touch the PPD vehicles and have fun with throw water balloons at cops, all the fun stuff. So anyway, our teams do a great job, and we're certainly mindful of trying to give as much opportunity as we can for our kids out here, and we definitely encourage them to go check out the resources we have.
Mayor, on the Childcare Summit tomorrow, I guess obviously you'll have there's going to be a phase 2 at some point in the future, but I guess at the end of tomorrow, what are you hoping to walk away from?
So one thing I'm going to be interested to see, and we've talked about, is we're going to ask all of these experts coming in what they believe before we've had any conversation. Just your individual opinion of what you believe the 2 or 3 things are that, if the world was our oyster, money was no object, what are the 2 or 3 things that would have the largest impact on increasing access to childcare in the city. So we'll ask that question kind of blindly to the conversation, and then we want to ask it again after and see. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how people's opinions change or don't. And what I want us to land on is to at least have honed in into a smaller pool what those tactics might be. And just examples of that is, let's find out, is our issue that rent is too expensive for an entrepreneur to start a daycare? Is it that our current daycares don't have enough information to know that if they get these increased certifications that they can get more grant funding? Is it an education type problem that we need to face? So I'm just a big believer in trying to find those 2 or 3 things and trying to really drill deep into those. And so that's what I hope. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of things, but what I'm hoping for is some general alignment around a smaller pool of solutions. And then that second meeting will be fleshing those out and saying, okay, well, what are the tactics now? If we agree that here's problem 1, 2, and 3, now the second meeting is about how do we attack problem 1, 2, and 3, and who can do what? What can the city do? What can our community partners do? And listen, I think it's rare to have all of these folks around one issue that are all passionate about it and their lives are dedicated to it in the same room at the same time. And it's long overdue, regardless of Children's Trust money or if we have a facility that we can give someone, or there's lots of different assets that we might be able to bring to solve this issue. But I think we should be even just celebrating the fact that we're taking on a very serious issue with our workforce, with our quality of life, and just getting everybody in the same room. So I'm excited for it in just that sense of saying that we get to talk about this holistically together. And so I believe we'll have a date, Teresa. I think we'll have a date for the second meeting if we don't already. That we want to be able to share with them. So this is not going to be we'll see in several months. We want this to continue to build momentum after the conversation. So I fully expect that second meeting will take place very soon after tomorrow.
Mayor, have you already determined that the child care problem is access and capacity, or are you going to attempt to learn more what the problem is at this meeting? And if it is a capacity and access, will you have consumers involved in this brainstorming session?
So here's what I know. I believe the problem to be that we lack quality, accessible childcare. I don't know that is what I'm saying is that I'm bullheading that as some type of solution. That's the problem I have identified, and I think we all, with consensus, have identified that. Because I mean, unless there's parents out there that say I've got plenty of access to childcare at an affordable price, we do not see that. And listen, you should always be open-minded to any data. That's what's great about getting everybody in the same room. I'm sure I'm going to learn something that I don't know. That's why we're doing it. Let's find out where the pain points are to have increased access to quality childcare. How do we train the trainers? How do we have better training for folks, so we have a larger pool of people qualified to work at these daycares? So I'm, again, very excited to hear this conversation and really get into the nitty gritty of what those pain points are of increasing childcare access. So I guess, no, I'm not trying to preload that we have to go one specific direction, other than what I do know is whether you pay $1,200 a month or can afford to pay whatever the market bears, or you can't afford that at all, we have a childcare access issue. I do firmly believe that. How we solve it and which part needs more love, and how do we improve it the fastest and most efficient way, that's what I certainly don't come in with any preconceived notion about, and certainly I'm very hopeful that we'll make a lot of headway tomorrow.
So what you're looking to format, someone going tomorrow, let's say they're a child care provider, there'll be speakers at the front end, and then you'll break into expectation to break into small groups, and we'll try to
Exactly.
discuss what they see are the priorities in their groups.
Exactly. So we've got someone from the Florida Chamber coming over to talk about data. Here's how it impacts our workforce. And then we have folks, the amazing folks in Miami-Dade, the ELC, and the Trust are going to present just on, they've done an amazing job with their Thrive by 5 initiative within their trust, and just not telling Pensacola, they don't live here. They understand that. They're coming to give us their best practice of here's what our problems were. And honestly, as a sneak preview to that, one of the conversations we had last week was one of the early problems was lack of alignment. Wasn't having everybody in the same room trying to row the same direction. And so they'll give some of the highlights of what's worked for them. That does in no way is a prescription that we've got to do it exactly the way they do it. But what I do want to share, and I will share tomorrow, is there's nothing that bothers me more than when we rationalize inaction by saying, well, that's Miami and this is Pensacola. We can find solutions that get us to a better place than we are today. And I think a lot of times in many, not just in childcare, I mean in any subject around here over many years of time, Rick, you've seen it probably more than me. We talk about stuff and then we say, well, that can't be us. And that's just not how I roll. I kind of feel like maybe we can't get it all done, and maybe it's not a home run swing, but we can be a better community tomorrow or the next month or the next year than we are today. And so it's kind of laying some of that out early just to get an understanding of the issue at hand at the state level and some best practices. And then the majority of the time is exactly what you said, that us having a deeper conversation about what we're seeing out there and then breaking into groups and talking about that. So because these big groups, breaking out is important because 50 people, you'll have 5 or 6 people that really want to talk, and then you'll have 5 or 6 people that have amazing information just from a personality perspective, don't really say anything and don't feel included. So we're going to try to extract all of this amazing background and information that this group's going to have in the best way that we can.
Well, I think it's important, for us then to be able to make clear that they'll be heard, not just listen.
Right, exactly. Yeah, well, and if you look at the pie chart of the agenda, that's the time is for discussion. And Teresa and I have talked about many times. What the outcome we want is a short list of generally consensus problems. Not just childcare access. Right now, as John just asked, we know we've got a childcare access problem, but why? Is it? Do we need more staff? Do we need more certifications? Do we need more? So I'm excited to have that question answered, at least in some substantive way tomorrow. And then I think our path is going to be very clear for the second meeting once we see what comes out of this first meeting. Are we down to one thing? Are we down to 5 things? I think it'll be very, very clear for us. So very excited.
Mayor, is there a stated deliverable for this first meeting? Will there be a report generated that will guide the second meeting?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what we would want to do, of course, for all these folks investing their time, we're going to memorialize what was said, what we heard from you, what our takeaways were. We have a facilitator actually coming in to facilitate the meeting, just outside, not someone who comes from a deep childcare background, but for that exact reason, to try to get to Rick's question, like getting information out of all of these different parties, and that it's not just the mayor or just Teresa, as staff, but someone that is helping move that conversation forward productively. So yeah, it's the reason we want to have that second meeting rather quickly, because the last thing we want to do is have one meeting and then wait 6 months and we've all forgotten what we talked about, and we kind of feel like we're starting over. So we'll memorialize kind of, this is what we heard from you, this is what was said, and here's what our goals are for the next meeting. So I'm sure as tomorrow takes place, we'll have again a lot of clarity on what that report might look like.
Any updates on pro soccer? What are you hearing?
Continue to have standing meetings with them. Actually had one at the end of last week. I know that they are having some outreach with small groups in the community. I know that they're wanting to now kind of step into conversations with folks that might be interested in ownership. And obviously they have prerequisites for that from an income standpoint, experience standpoint, all of that. So we're helping facilitate. Obviously a big part of the conversation is going to be where you're going to put the stadium itself, and so they continue to look at that. So just lots of work in the background right now. Nothing, understandably, I don't think the USL wants to come out and put a picture of a soccer field on some place that can't have one, or something like that, and cause a big stir. So, but there's lots of underneath the water, lots of legs moving and trying to get a good understanding of what's happening in the community and what the interest is, all of that. So we're in constant communication with them.
Mayor, you plan to run for a second term?
Oh man, Rick, come on, man! I just had a long
15
weekend.
no, it's 15 months away.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that I'm going to commit on Tuesday, 15 months out. But what I will say, I do believe that this is an 8-year job. Meaning, I just feel like when the community votes you in, if you do this 4 years, right around now, you kind of are done with new. It'd be hard to do a childcare summit if this was going to be,
Right.
Where you've only got 12, 13, 14 months left. So, there's lots to think of that. Lots, my hairs are getting gray and everything too. So there's lots to think about. That's not a
Nothing wrong
flippant
with
decision.
gray hair.
Yes, I understand. I understand. Just on a faster trajectory, Rick, than I would like. But I do believe it. I mean, I do consider this an 8-year job in terms of if you want to have the impact. And I think it's better for the citizen that way, to be honest. I mean, now, if they don't think you're doing a good job, and they can certainly use their vote to say that as well. But when you think about all of the progress and how aggressive that we've been to get all of these transformational projects done, in the next year and a half, we're going to just see some of those starting to fly. So I don't know if I'm ready to tell you that what I'm definitely going to do or not do, but philosophically I look at it that way. And
So it's a philosophical yes.
yeah, it's a mealy-mouthed way to not answer your question
Right.
directly, but tell you that I'm open to it. That would be the way I'd explain it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Mayor, any updates on the pickleball courts?
I think it was supposed to be. I feel like a broken record. I feel it's any day now. I thought the last update was the end of May or 1st of June. All they're waiting on is some type of certificate of occupancy for those shipping containers that they have down where their offices are. That was it. So I know courts are painted, all of that. Not for the inside, but for the outside. So should be any day now, and depending on the ball is on our court one day and their court the next day. On these permits and stuff, but should be any day now.
Mayor,
Yeah.
your city swimming pools facilities open this weekend.
Yes.
Any feedback you're getting? I've noticed some comments to our platform, people trying to get schedules to deconflict with the YMCA times over at Roger Scott. But you're confident this is going to be better over there than it has been in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not up on exactly what issues are out there. We had a council member reach out about, had some concerns over the weekend that we kind of repositioned with a little more, we got down to the facts of what was going on, and there was an issue with one of the pools over there, or one of the smaller pools, the filtering system and all that, things that happen when you own and operate pools. But I feel what I can tell you overall with our negotiation with the YMCA about this new contract is that we have expected better clarity than when I got here about when the pools were open. If that is some type of issue, certainly reach out to us or our Parks and Rec department. We would want to hear that. But I can tell you overall, and I can tell you contractually, there is significantly higher clarity about who gets to access the pool at what time than it was when I got here 3 years ago. And so that I would assume that remains the case. But I would expect that our hours and the YMCA, they want people at the pool. So there's no reason we'd be hiding hours or anything like that. But we'll make sure, we'll look at internally, and if we can do a better job of getting that out and communicated with the hours and everything else, certainly we'll do that.
And the restroom situation at the pool?
Yeah, quite the dilemma. I think, obviously we have approval to have the temporary. And if you remember, we upgraded the temporary again a couple years ago. It was just porta potties kind of on the side. We've put in a better situation for those temporaries much improved from a couple years ago. That's a little more sustainable to last another pool season. But listen, that's another one of those. We talked about procurement. That's another one of these major dilemmas that you have. Is that here's something that you need and we have needed for a couple of years, and then when the price comes in at $1.1 million, a Taj Mahal-esque price for a pool bathroom, at what point are what point is a disservice to the taxpayer when you're doing something like that? And so I know we're trying to find that right. We've had some general conversations about, is there something prefab that we can do that like, I don't mean a shipping container, but like that format where people buy shipping containers and kind of drop them in. Maybe there's some cost savings there. So we're looking at every option that we can. It's not off our radar by any means, but it's just we've kind of taken a punch to the nose on that one in terms of just the sheer outrageous cost, and trying to get that into something that I can look a taxpayer in the eye and say that this was a good decision.
Mayor Manny Diaz is the new interim president of UWF. More likely will be the president, or he wouldn't give up to be an education commissioner. What are your thoughts?
Well, I saw Martha last week, and of course, gave her a hug and told her how much I appreciated everything that she's done for our university, and still feel that way. But we are where our feet are, and I think our goal should be as a community to make the University of West Florida the most successful place and continue to be the most successful place it can be. So I can speak for me and for at least for the city. Our goal should always be, if there's something that this city can do to help advance the possibilities and the performance of the University of West Florida, that we're ready to always have that conversation. So we'll, we'll see what happens. Again, I know a lot of things are moving very quickly, but I look forward, if that is the way that it goes and he ends up being the president, I look forward to meeting with him and figuring out how the City of Pensacola can partner with the University of West Florida to continue this amazing run that the university has been on. Anything else? All right, guys, thank you so much.